These are their stories.
Okie dokie.
All right.
So we're good.
We're good.
So I'm so I don't know if you know this. This is cool to me, man. I when I was talking with Issei, I said, I can't wait. I did a little promo for Issei, just fooling around a little bit, and I have so many questions. And I know that for you guys, I don't know how many times you've done this, in your, in your career, or just talking about your career and stuff. But for me, it's a big deal.
Uh-huh.
For me, it's a big deal. I love to get inside the minds of the players and how they were thinking and why they chose to do, what they did. But yeah, so. Yeah, obviously last time we spoke, we kind of left off with you and playing in Holland just at the beginning of it when you actually started. Now, maybe for you, that's not a really big deal, but Holland was definitely one of the better leagues, in the world, still is to this day. It's known for the proper way of playing, really. Obviously the 4-4-2 with Cruyff. And total football, and it has created some of the most creative players really out of Europe. If you were to think about, some of the players that really had a great imagination for the game outside of Brazil and South America, really, you get a lot of them really from Holland, and so for you to be playing on that level, did you think at the time when you were playing, did you go, wow, like I'm playing actually in this top league? With all of these big teams getting red cards, against Feyenoord and everything. Were you in the moment, or were you just, I'm good enough for this level and I'm just part of my career. This is where I am and no big deal.
No, but I knew right away, in Holland, it's known for developing young players, and then they will eventually, being sold to the top leagues in Europe. Holland is obviously not, you cannot pay the same money or the salaries as in England or Spain or Germany, whatever. So I knew right away from in Holland, okay, Holland is the perfect step. I even suggested to every young player abroad, if you can go to Holland as a young player, I would definitely recommend it, because, first of all, the way Holland plays the system is just, I think personally, it's the best way. There's nothing compared to the Dutch way. And then and the second part is just because you get a lot of exposure. You play a lot of chance to play against, obviously, within the Europa League or Champions League, whatever you want to call it. So there's a lot of exposure. Everybody outside Holland watches the Dutch league, and they, because they know these players are developed the right way, they are playing the right way. You see young players that are, for example, let's say 19, 20 years old, and they're already in their maybe second or third year playing professionally, and they have like almost what is it, 50 between 50 and 100 games under the belt, which is huge, obviously. You know how it is in America and Canada. You know, the college kids, they're done with their school. They're like 21, 22, still waiting for their first professional game. And if you compare those age groups to the European teams or European players, they have like 100 to 200 games already played. So it's huge.
I remember for me, you know, I started kind of young, not as young as you, obviously, but kind of young. And I remember I was always afraid to play in front of big crowds. I was, even when I made it on a higher level, I was shocked to see I peed. I remember I peed right before we came out, and 5 minutes later I was on the bench. And when they told me to warm up, because something went wrong in the game in Sparta Prague, I think there was maybe 28 or 30,000 people there, and I just remember I was like, I ran to the washroom to pee again, you know, because I was just like, I was not ready, and I was already at that time probably about 22 at the time, you know, and I was playing never on the highest level. So I was always afraid. So when you told me about the game against Feyenoord and you had so many people booing you and all that stuff, I think it was just amazing. And that's the thing that you get go to Holland, is that you get exposed to all the young, at a young age, you're used to playing in front of these crowds, right? And the pressure that comes with it. So when you were playing, when the whistle blew, were you conscious of the people that were there, or were you so in tune into the game it just felt like a normal game, like when you were playing as a youth academy player?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you're aware of the people, of the fans, you know, especially in away games. But it's kind of cliche, but they say, okay, as soon as you have your first touch or your first pass, it will go away. But it is actually like that. I felt. For me, it was always like, you know, okay, the first whatever, until you get your first touch, you're kind of nervous, and then obviously you hope that your first touch is good. But after that first touch or first pass or first tackle, whatever, your first personal battle, if you want to call it that, after that one, then you're just fine, and then it just becomes a regular game, and you just you kind of block those fans out.
For me it was the first tackle or the first foul. I like to get dirty quickly in the game, just like, even if I was wearing a nice uniform or whatever, if there was any mud, I would try to find it, like just get in the game, you know. I love the physicality, I love the fighting. If someone's nice to me, it throws me off. If they talk a little bit like, hey, where you play before, like, I don't want to head off, right? I don't want to think about this. But yeah, so you're there, and you're with Roda at the time, right? Like, tell me a little bit more about, okay, so I know that you signed the progress, you went from the second to the first, and now you're playing on the first. Were you a regular starter? Did you feel comfortable? Were you, in your idea, don't be too shy, a little bit better than your competition in your mind? Or were you comfortable that you fit in just nice and you were like an average on the team?
Yeah, no, I like right away when I came, obviously, like now I felt myself being a real professional. Like first time signing there, I felt, okay, now this is professional league. You know, like I play against, I play with players that I used to watch on TV, and I know them. So now I felt like, okay, this is where I want to be. And I remember a coach saying to, obviously, you know, we're getting you, we're signing you. We want you to be the starter. Obviously, you have to prove it. So that was my mindset. I have to prove it in the first couple of months, preseason, all that. But after a few weeks, a few months, I kind of knew I was the better player than my competition. So I felt safe. Which is not always a good thing, feeling safe. You know, you want to have that keep that drive of okay, the guy is behind me is also really pushing. He also wants to fight for his spot. So that's always something you have to look out for.
De Jong met een mooie aan het hoofd. Afstand schiet. Dan moet je als.
But No, I felt like a regular player, and I started pretty much from the beginning. Every game, obviously, every once in a while, you rest or you got a suspension or whatever. But for most of my time at Roda, I was always been a starter. Yeah, so like I said, I was like probably 19 maybe when I signed there, and then like I said, like 2 years later, I have played probably roughly around 100 games in 2-3 years. So that's the difference between here and North America.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's it. I mean, it's so crazy, right? You're what, 20 years old or something. You have that many games, and then you go to college like that. There's no comparison. It's absolutely not.
No.
The contract that you signed at the beginning, when did you have to renegotiate, or did you sign for 5 years, or how many years did you sign for?
Yeah, no, I signed a 4-year contract. And then obviously towards the end of my what was it, third season, going to close to fourth season, they wanted to obviously negotiate and see if I could get a new deal. But I was playing well. Obviously 4 years at the club, and if you wanna, I'm not a player that wants to stay at one club. I want to explore. I don't know. I don't feel like being at one club is for me. I personally want to travel. I want to see the world. I want to see different places, different cultures. Like that's always how I've been, and I can't. But to be honest, I've didn't really move as much as other players. But I never really.
I never heard someone say that. I thought I was the only one.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Honest to God, I've never ever heard somebody ever say that. I saw football as my love. It was something that I put all my all into. I enjoyed it. I love the fight. I love the you know how it is, man. It's hard to put it into words. Like when you show up and you know that there's an obstacle you need to overcome. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. The fight for position, the fight to make enough money to support your family, the fight. That was the love that I had, right? And but I also knew growing up that I would never get to travel the world. Was, I was fortunate when I was 14 to travel with the national team. And from then on, going to Dusseldorf all the time for these camps and stuff like this, I saw it as a vehicle, and I was like you. If I can use this vehicle to go travel places I know I'll never go again, I felt like if it was an option, I would do it. And so I was like, but a little bit different, obviously. But with you had the choice. So you were there for 4 years, and so you decided, I want to change.
I wanted to change. I wanted to explore, like I said before. Holland is known for developing young players, and obviously from there move on to the bigger leagues. Yeah. And that's what I was going for. So I had the opportunity to go to Germany. There was a Dutch coach, and he obviously was interested in me when I was done. He knew I was transfer free, a free agent. And he approached me and said, "Would you be interested in coming to Germany? I have a cool project. We're in the second league right now. We're pushing for the promotion to go to the first league. It's in Germany, right? Obviously, the second league in Germany is also really high, really great. And so that was obviously, for me, it was a no-brainer going to Germany. I had different options also in Germany. But it was like literally 10-15 minutes away from my old club. I didn't really feel like a move. I could still stay at home. I could still go back and forth. But that wasn't really was not really an adventure for me. And so I decided to go to Augsburg, sign a 2-year deal. And moved my family and I. We've same girlfriend as I was younger, and we packed our stuff and we went over.
People don't know the second Bundesliga is tremendous.
Yeah,
it's not. There's very little, and even now, the difference between the two is very, very small, and the crowds are exactly the same. You can get 5,000 people in a third Bundesliga, team easy in the in the top flight of the third division. So yeah, I didn't actually know that. So this is the second time that you were part of a project going from the second to the first tier of a league.
Yeah, so obviously my first contract in Holland was signed with the second league team. We stayed in the second league, but I was just more development. I was more getting, it was my first contract. I'll sign whatever I can get.
Yeah.
But
did they move? Roda moved up from the second to the first, or
no? Roda was always been in the first. Roda's always been in the first. But that first team where I that was second league at the beginning of my career.
Yeah.
And so in Germany, the first year, obviously Augsburg at that time has never been in the first league. And the year before, I believe they finished. Before I came, they finished, I think, 4th place. So they were really close of promoting.
Mm-hmm.
And the year that I came, we pulled it off in the first year. We were until the last game, we were tied with the first place. And I believe we actually played Hertha Berlin. They were in first place. We were in second place, tied. And the first two teams automatically promote to the first league, and the third team does a playoff round. But the last game we tied the game, and we were still promoted directly into the first league without playoffs. So that was obviously the first time ever for the club's history. Yeah, it was huge accomplishments for the club, and we made it.
Wow. Yeah, and that's amazing to go into a club and to have success first round, right? First time around, and when you do that though, you signed originally, obviously when they were in the second. Does anything change at all for you when you move to the first? Like, do they have to renegotiate, or it's just bonuses you get and then you carry on the same salary, or did you get new offers, or were you like, okay, I love this club now that I came from the second, so I'm staying here forever? Like, what was your?
So I think first of all, the club has already the clause in their contracts. Okay, if you promoted, your salary goes up by a certain amount of percentages, which was great. Obviously, the bonuses, you get extra bonus for promoting. You get a certain amount for every point you made in the game. So. And obviously the bonuses are nice in over there. And then I was happy there. I was really happy. Germany was my best time. My wife and I got married there. My kid was born in Germany. We had when we got there, me and I think 4 or 5 other players were from Holland. When we got there, so it was really like a little family within the club, and it was just awesome. Great experience. Celebrating with the fans the promotion to the first league, and the following year, obviously, we stayed in the Bundesliga. We didn't get relegated. That was also obviously a huge accomplishment, probably the same accomplishment as actually promoting to the first league.
Yeah.
So another huge party. Everybody's, of course, in great spirits.
Yeah.
And they're still in the Bundesliga. They haven't gone down. There's now, 10, 11 years where they've been straight in the Bundesliga. So it's nice to see the club still being strong and in the Bundesliga.
Yeah. Did you ever play video games at all when you were as a professional?
Level. They've overturned the odds here. Well, they just wouldn't lie down, would they? Kept going and they've got their reward.
Well, that is one that we'll look at again because it's so eye-catching when that happens. Very rare, real goal.
Yeah, it really gets the crowd buzzing, and looks like
No, never. No,
Never.
I've bought a back in the day at the Wii. It's called the video. What it's called? Not PlayStation, but you have Wii, the white
Yeah,
whatever it's
yeah.
called. So I bought that. Played like for a week. Never played again. I had a PlayStation. Played it for a week. Never again. I've never been anyone that plays video games. Never.
You're more the outdoorsy type, do things with your time.
Yeah, exactly. I would never like lock myself up and go go in a room and play video games all day. So we were always kind of, okay, training's over. Okay, guys, obviously my wife and my kid were waiting at home. They're kind of chilling on their own. So okay, guys, now Marcel's home. Let's do something fun. And we were really close to Munich, like 30, 40 minutes away from Munich. So we would go there sometimes after training. 1 or 2 days off, we would drive to Milan in Italy. It's only like 4 hours, 5 hours away. So we would drive there. We would just enjoy our time there. And
Yeah, the reason why I asked that is because this generation today, a lot of them, they're very much into video games. They almost, what a video game is, especially with the technology today, is like it's artificial. It brings you, it's so real that you think it is real. And I find when I watch football today, at least in Canada, a lot of them, they play like the video games. And you might not know what that means because you don't look at video games, but you see sometimes they're trying to make highlights in the game. The extra dribbling, the unnecessary showmanship in front of the net, especially trying to score the most miraculous goal instead of putting the ball in the back of the net. And also their level of success in terms of what they think it is, and I had to ask that question because a lot of times it's displayed on TV that professionals sit back, they have nothing to do and they play video games all day long. And this is where they develop their talent. No,
yeah.
Not at all. This is what professionals do, with their time. They spend time with their families, they're active, they do things. I remember there was players that always used to play squash after training or something, and go hang out, have dinner, lunch, go for walks, go somewhere, something.
No, I totally agree. Obviously new generation, and if it's good or not, I'm not here to tell them, okay, it's wrong, but it's just how it is right now. But I remember just like my career has never been about highlights or about how I look, because I've always been a grinder. I've always been like a fighter. I always had to fight for my spots growing up, and I was always like average, and I was never the best player in the team. So I really never really focused on those things. I always focused on doing the dirty work. Putting the tackle. Those were my highlights, if you want to call it. People that have knowledge of the game, they'll see the true player. The average fan who comes there for the show, they'll probably see, okay, wow, that guy made a nice move, whatever. But the true soccer fans, they know the difference between a highlight player and a player with passion or heart or drive or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I remember when Julian came over and I was like, man, you guys are so lucky you guys are getting Julian at TFC, because he's a defensive midfielder, but you have to understand what that is. A great Real Madrid team of 2003, 4, 5, 6 into 7 with all those big name players and stuff. The team changed when Makelele was no longer winning the ball in the midfield for Zidane, and even Zidane would say that today, right? So, for the players that play the game properly, it's a team sport. It's not, you have some special players that do special things, but ultimately there's players that are making those runs. For every single highlight that you see of Ronaldinho or whoever it is that you're looking at, watch off the ball what these players are doing to create the space and the option, and And a lot of times I think people are failing to see that, in the game. When I used to watch you, I never watched full games of you. I just used to watch anything that I can find, especially back in those days. I was very curious to how the other Canadian players were doing. And I think I told you that I remember when you had, well, you now have it now, but you had big ponytail blonde guy. So who's this Canadian guy named De Jong? You know what I mean? And at this time you're already, there wasn't many. I know that, I don't know if you were around when Paul Stalteri was still there, at Werder Bremen, but I remember it was you and Julian, or I think Julian was, did he just go to Deportivo? But I know that it was somewhere around that time where just a couple of you guys that were there. Oh, there was, who else was there? Was there McKenna?
McKenna was there, Hastings, Stalteri, Brennan, Ante, all those players. Who? Sorry?
Jazik, is that his last name?
Yeah. He was there.
Wow.
Patrice Bernier, all the players were there. I played with a lot of the older ones.
Was Tam Nasaliwa there?
He was there maybe once or twice, maybe. I'm not really sure. But I know him. Yeah, obviously. Who else do we have there?
I know there was a little moment. I think. No. Olivier Ocean came a little bit later. I thought.
Ale Gerba was there. Mike Lukowski was there. Radzinski was there. Yeah.
There was a lot, and so it's funny, the national team. There was so many guys that were there. And top. I think today we look at it and we go, man, we have so many players playing in Europe and top teams. Which is true, of course. But when I was there, when I was growing up and I saw you guys there, I was thinking, man, our national team should be pretty good. Yeah. But I think, I think that the world of all of you guys, because you guys are the ones that I looked up to, even though we're similar in age. I think you're younger. I just always wanted our national team to do well. And whenever you guys got together, I was like, okay, this should be a no-brainer. We shouldn't be losing to Panama or, or these teams. But I also knew that the couple times when I came into the national team as well, that back then you guys didn't have the money or the facilities or even the time to spend with each other, to come together and click like how other teams would have before. And, can you speak to that a little bit in terms of the preparation for a lot of these Gold Cups and World Cup qualifications and stuff?
Obviously, I think, I don't know, maybe it's a little bit sensitive, but I think a lot of times, a lot of trips of national teams in the beginning, especially when I just got there, it felt more like just getaway, just, you know what I mean?
Oh, yes.
And I felt like, okay, guys, let's a 10-day camp, training camp in Florida. And, I felt like Fort Lauderdale, the hotel. And I just felt like, guys, okay, training and training's over. And we had lots of time where we can just go have dinners on our own or, after training. And it wasn't really professional. So I felt like guys coming in already with an attitude, okay, let's have some training and just go out and do our thing and then come back next day and train again. And, let's have a game this weekend. And so it wasn't really fully concentration, fully focused on one thing, and that's getting the job done. So that's the only thing I think that should have been better, because like you said, we did have the quality, we did have the players, we did have beasts in the back, we did have top players in front, in midfield, Julian, Tiba. So we had everything there, but for some reason,
plenty of options here. Becker, Edgar looks like will be neither of them an easy goal, as it turns out. The deception works, and it's Marcel De Jong.
Wasn't the mentality. I wasn't there when you were there. I never met you up until, we still haven't met in person, but I'm getting to know you a lot better now. I ran into Isse, and I don't know if he told you the boat ride from hell experience when we were. Did he tell you that?
I heard this was some tropical island, right?
Yeah, we were supposed to play against, say, St. Lucia and Magic. I don't know how this happens, but the game got canceled. An international game got canceled, and all these players are released from their club to go play international games. So somehow we ended up getting a game against Martinique, and we had to take the boat to Martinique. That's a story for another day. But
Yeah, I heard about this a little bit. Yeah, people getting sick, right? Yeah.
And I just remember, I was just saying to myself, it's just so interesting that Julian and Marcel and like Ali Gerba aren't here for this.
Yeah.
It's just like the guys that are getting their first cap.
Yeah.
And I could second that it literally felt, I remember going through drills and the way how I was, I was very, 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 very aggressive on the field. I didn't want to make friends. And then afterwards, I'd be very, very funny and stupid and joking around. But on the field, I was very, very serious because I was still trying to break into the team. Mm-hmm. And this is when like Frank Yallop was there, and then he left to go coach LA Galaxy. And then the under-20 coach, Dale Mitchell, came in, and then Steven. So there was a lot of rotation of coaches. Yeah. And so a lot of times they would go to Fort Lauderdale. And I remember that same thing you're saying. It just felt like, it's like the fun people came to Fort Lauderdale to hang out in January, and that was season. I'm in mid-season, about to go back in, and it's a shame because those are all my favorite players, and I wish that it wasn't just this beautiful bunch that have made it. I truly believe that probably the 2010, the 2006, I even from probably 2003 onward, was like, I call it the golden era to me, because we have so many players that were so good at their club. Josh Simpson was fast as the wind. You had Ali Gerba scoring a bunch of goals for Canada, more of a stagnant striker, but he did his part as a big guy. Yeah. You had so many guys, and I just,
Dwayne.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
And I met him. I was just thrown at how he could shoot and how he was just all for it,
Yeah.
Games, and you go, how the heck did this not happen before? But I think the mentality changed, and I wish that the younger guys, I hope they do look back at guys like you who just retired, and others that had to go through this stuff, to pave the way for them so that they can have the spotlight, and run with it and make the World Cup and 2 World Cups in a row, hopefully. And, and kind of go with it. So you were at Augsburg for how many years?
So I signed 2 years, then re-signed for another 2 years, and then after my 4 years, I didn't want to stay there anymore. But I can't really what happened.
Why would you want to there? Like,
no, it was a new coach, and that last year I didn't play as much. I had some injuries, wasn't playing as much anymore. I just felt, okay, this is I should just look for other options. So that I had
at this point, you spent 4 years at Roda. You now spent 4 years at Augsburg. So you should be around the 27 mark, something like this, 28, 27?
Yeah, somewhere around there, yeah.
Somewhere around there. But you're a seasoned veteran. I'm just trying to paint the picture for your decisions, right? You're a seasoned veteran. You've played many games, top level for many years. You're used to the crowds. You've made money, so you're not broke anymore or poor. Not that you were broke, but, that you're not. You helped your family a great deal, so finances is not necessarily the issue. You're on the national team, and you're on your 4th year with Augsburg. New coach comes in, not playing, a little bit of injuries, and now you decide, okay, new chapter. I want something new.
That's what the plan was. But on my holiday, I got a phone call from Augsburg saying, okay, no, we want you to stay another 2-year contract. Yeah, I don't know. I heard you guys talk about getting a new left back, trying to get him for like 5 million, which was a lot for a left back. I was like, yeah, and at that time, and the coach was saying, no, that's not true. That's all rumors, and it's not going to happen. We want you to stay. We're really happy. You're part of the team. You're part of the history we made here. So So I was thinking this. I was in Ibiza at the time, and talking to my family. Obviously, they were there, and they said, "Okay, yeah, no, why not? Just sign another 2-year contract." So I called them up. Okay, let's do it. 2 years. So I signed another 2 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and then let's see. First 6 months of the season, obviously. No, first of all, when I signed, like about maybe a month ago, they end up signing that guy for $5 million, right? So then I knew, okay, there we go, right? They just bought a $5 million player, left back on my position, so he's probably gonna have the upper hand. Obviously, he still needs to prove himself, but you know how it goes in soccer. They buy a big time player. Good
Somehow
luck.
he gets on the field,
and then obviously the first game of the season was a Bocal Cup game, I started. We ended up losing against the third league team. We ended up losing, and somehow it was obviously my fault. And that was their reason for them. Okay, moving forward, we're gonna play the other player, which is fine. I get it, whatever. And they're doing their thing, but obviously I wasn't happy with that.
Right.
So the coach and I got a little arguments here and there, and we just didn't get along anymore. So then halfway through the season in 2015, so this is 4.5 years later, they want me to go. They wanted me to, and I wanted to go. We both wanted to go, right? So that's why we just parted ways, and obviously no hard feelings to the club, but yeah, that's just how it went.
The thing about football is that I didn't learn until later is not to be sensitive, because football, as it's a beautiful game, if you play it the right way, you feel as though you should get your reward. But sometimes we forget the business of it. There's so much more than just Marcel playing good on left back and down the left flank, making all the runs, making the tackles, giving his 100%, being a hard worker. Then there's that other part, the business part, where agents have power and influence, and a new coach comes in, and he has a different philosophy, a different way, a different vision, and also he has an agent, and that agent might have players, and yada yada. This is the part that you can't control as a footballer, and I think where I failed sometimes was I took it personally. Growing up, I thought if you try and you have a success and you do the job, that that everything should go like A, B, C, D, E, F, G. But in football, not necessarily true. And and they gave you their word that this is just rumors, and then this rumor ended up being true. And lo and behold, at the end, this player was playing in your position.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate, but at the same time, it was probably the cards, right, that you were dealt. I'm not looking at anything, so I'm just going off my memory. That you went to Vancouver.
No.
No? Oh.
No. So I went to Kansas City.
Yes.
Kansas. So obviously playing with national team, talking to the guys in the team, and talking about the MLS, and like I mentioned before, like I'm an adventurer. I want to see places. I want to go places, and so I just wanted to go to the MLS. But yeah, obviously
English again, and just like be around North Americans and stuff like that. Was that like a little bit, because your whole family is pretty much Europe, right? They know that time. So now was that part of it too?
It was just more like, okay, going to America, that the American dream, what the people always have, like I was obviously growing up in Europe, Canada, America, those are like massive countries, like huge. Yeah. And so that's why I just like, that would be cool to play in the US or Canada. And so we just tried it out. And that was obviously tough, because I thought, okay, player from Bundesliga or Germany or it's easy to go to the MLS. But it was actually really hard to get an MLS. You know, with all those rules, you can only have certain foreigners because I'm obviously Canadian. You're considered a foreigner in America,
Right.
even though the other way around, Americans in Canada are totally fine. So that's kind of weird backwards. But all those different rules and salary caps and all this and that, and even you can even be traded. Each has a cool story about that. I'm pretty sure you know that one.
You want to get crazy?
Yeah.
I say it now because I'm retired, so nobody can do anything to me. But I came, you know, Nick Dasovich, right? Obviously, the assistant coach for the good guy, right? Funny as heck. That guy. So funny. Good player too. Even when he was retired and he trained, it was like, oh, he's pretty.
Yeah.
I remember I came back on vacation 2008 and I said, Nick, I really need to, I wasn't playing much. And I said, Nick, I need to train. And he goes, okay, come to the TFC. So I came to the TFC. They gave me a tickets to the game. So I came to watch the game. And I remember they called me back to the where the coach was before the game, or as they were warming up or whatever. And this was the time when Adrian Siriu was on the team. And so just to give you an idea. And I remember going to the back and the coach was talking to me. He's like, okay, so we're going to get rid of this guy. We're going to get rid of this guy and get rid of this guy. And, you know, I think that they're going to offer you this much. And I was like, what the heck is going on? I'm only training. Like, what was to this guy? You know what I mean? And when I went to go train with them, they were saying, oh, you know, he's a DP player. You know, he's from Europe. And they said the wrong name. They said Sparta, wherever. They didn't even know where the hell they were playing. You know, and I was training with them, and I trained 2 days, and I got the heck out of there because I was actually illegal for me to train with TFC. But I learned the rules of like how things work there, and I said to myself, my God, like you can sign at that time. You could sign for 2 years, and they can release you after for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So I understand what you're saying. I was looking for big things for you there. Because I was like the same thing like you, a European player knows how to play the game the right way, played in Holland and then played in the Bundesliga. They should be asking you your opinion and stuff like that. But no, that wasn't the case. They probably, I don't even know if they knew.
No, that's the thing with Americans or maybe even Canadians. They train a certain way, and that's their world. They don't look anywhere else. They don't follow other philosophies. There's just one way. You have to be strong, you have to be physical, you have to be fast, all those things. And probably those things come at the bottom in Europe. It's all mentally strong. You have to be you have to be technical good, you have pride, heart, all that, those kind of things, right? And that's the difference between Europe and North America. I remember in preseason in Kansas where you have to do like a sprint tests and the jump test. You have to touch those things in the air and see how high you can jump. You have to do vertical jumps, all those kind of things. You have to do lifting weights. Like and they write it down. They're okay. Oh no, not so good there. Oh yeah, really good in this. Okay, good. And then based off those things, they'll sign you or they'll start you, or they're happy with you or not happy. And that was unheard of. That's like what's going on right now here? Like can this guy pass a ball over 30 yards to somebody's chest? No, he can't. But he can run fast. Whoa, Yeah. So those are the things that kind of was like mind blowing to me. Everything was kind of weird for me that first year in Kansas. Away games after the game, again, they go out for dinners, they go out to party. If they lose or win, doesn't matter.
Really?
Dinner on your own. Like holy, like that's like.
Marcel, what mood are you in?
Mood?
Yeah, what mood are you in when you lose a game? What's your feeling?
No,
after?
like I want to just lock myself up. I don't want to go out anywhere. I barely want to talk to anybody.
Exactly.
Like I'm embarrassed.
Yeah.
And like in Germany and Holland, if the people would see you go out after a game, you will be like fined. You'll be suspended for a couple of days or whatever, right? And here it's just totally normal. You see guys coming to the airport the following morning with their shades on, like holy hangover, and
I
like
was pissed after games when I lost.
yeah, and
And I was
that's
on a couple of losing teams. So,
yeah,
you know, I was not in a good mood. You know, my
no,
wife Al was with me just like you. And oh my gosh, coming
yeah,
home, I would just go. She would know immediately. She knew just
yeah,
don't talk.
yeah, yeah,
Take a long hot bath. He's not
yeah,
going anywhere. Like, you know,
yeah,
just depressed until
yeah.
training.
Yeah, no, exactly. And then even the next training, like you're still angry, you're still trying to work harder, or like, push yourself a little bit more. It's just, so that was really like a eye opener for me in the MLS, my first year. And then I think also that's why I struggled the first year in Kansas. Obviously the first couple months I was okay, I was playing, but then I just kind of I stayed true to myself. I didn't do those things. I was always, professional. I always tried to do my best, and I didn't go out after games, even traveling. So I don't know. I just didn't really fit in as I normally would fit in teams. I felt like an outsider by not going out or not going for drinks after a game, or even during the week. Like I would like to eat, healthy, good food.
Yeah. You know what, Marcel, there was no promotion or demotion even today. And that's a business decision. So, if you can't lose, then you always win. Right.
Yeah.
And extension and more. So this is why I wanted to talk to you, because I was shocked that you came. I remember leaving the TFC, and one of my old coaches named Laza came up to me and he's like, don't you here? Like, don't. I was like, I'm still under contract, and but don't ever come back here. And I was shocked that such a guy like you would do it. I just thought maybe because you're a DP player or something that I don't know. Maybe it's so good to you now. You're just relaxing, because most European players, at that time when they came here, they were just at the end of their career, get a nice paycheck, a nice beautiful place to live, speak English, live a North American lifestyle, no communism.
Yeah. No, but that's why after Kansas, I was like not in a dark hole, but I was just done with MLS. I was like, this is not for me. Like,
Right.
And then obviously, once you are released, or after the year at Kansas, we parted ways because it wasn't a good fit, and I wasn't happy. You can just see it. And I just wanted to play football and love it again, and find the passion again. So I just said I'm not going to play for MLS anymore unless it's maybe a Canadian team. Then I'll maybe give it a try. But I'm not staying in the US anymore, because I thought maybe it's just the mentality from the Americans.
Right.
So I decided to go for 3-4 months to go to Ottawa. And from there on, because then was the season finished in probably January, February. No, my contract ended in Kansas in January, February. It's like, it's tough to go to Europe halfway through the season. I'm gonna train 3-4 months with Ottawa and play with them, and then probably go make a move to Europe again in the summer. So I went to Ottawa. Really, again, great time there, great experience. I just totally fell back in love again. We didn't play many games. It was the NASL back then.
Not on the same page as Howarth, but Ottawa gets it back on the left. Here's the shot from distance, and it's 1-1.
Decided to make the change, and lucky for us, Marcel came up with the goods.
Feels like a win, especially when you score in the last minute. But I'd say when we scored the 1-1, I thought they're never going to score again. It was just so much fun. I just enjoyed it. Julian de Guzman was there. So we just had a great team. And at the end, like I said, like, wow, this is great. I love it here. I want to stay here. And so my wife loved it there, and we were really happy. And we were looking for a place to buy to settle down there, because we just fell in love with the city.
Right.
And so we're in this house, we're doing a little house hunting, and we're in the house, we look at each other, okay, this is the house, this is what we want, this is it. And then while we're at the house, my agent called me saying, okay, don't sign the new contract because Ottawa wanted me to stay with them. They wanted to give me like a lifetime contract for how many years, whatever.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, let's do it, you know. But my agent said, don't sign it. The Whitecaps, they want you. So I told this to my wife. My wife started crying. I'm on the phone. We're literally in the house. This is not a lie. We're in the house, and so my wife started crying. I was like, "Oh no, come on, I don't know." And then, so we end up getting ready for a big decision. And we were literally. My wife drove over from Kansas to Ottawa. That's like
wow.
30, 40 hours, whatever. And she drove but our stuff was still in Kansas because I only signed for 3-4 months, right? So so we drove to we were on a highway. I remember this. We were at Tim Hortons, and we go left. You go to Ottawa to go and sign the contract, or right, you go back to Kansas, pack up your stuff, and go to Vancouver. So I remember being in that parking lot, and my daughter had the phone. She was playing on my phone because my agent said, okay, Whitecaps is going to give you a call in the next hour or so. Yeah. But I didn't have my phone on me. And because I was my daughter had my phone. So then at some point I asked my daughter, did somebody like text me or call me? Oh yeah, you got a little message there like a little while ago. But I said, what? So I looked at it. It was Carl Robinson from the Whitecaps saying, okay, he wants to call me. So then he told me like, okay, yeah, we want you, but we still need to get rid of a player here, Sam Adekugbe. But yeah, we want you here. Okay, so okay, good. Okay, I'm coming. I'm going to drive to Kansas City, pack up our stuff, and go. And then got in Kansas City. Still haven't heard anything about the Whitecaps. They're still dealing with getting rid of that player. But then we're like, you know what? Let's just, take fate in our own hands. We're just going to ship everything to Whitecaps, to Vancouver. We're going to pack our stuff and drive there. Let's just drive. When we get there on the way, we'll probably hear something. And then we're driving there for a day, still driving so far from Kansas City to Vancouver.
Yeah.
And because that's how we are, we're adventurers. We just hop in the car, we just go. And then I called them, okay, guys, we're on our way. That's what I did before. We're on our way to Vancouver, that's just so you know.
Yeah.
So that kind of put a little bit of pressure on them as well. And then they tell you, okay, we put you in a hotel here and we're still finalizing some details here, but it looks good. So got there in Whitecaps and yeah.
People wouldn't believe that would be the case, right? That sometimes you have the fork in the road with these different decisions to make, and there's the family decision and there's the career decision, right? And the financial as well. So first of all, I've been to Vancouver one time. What did you think of the place? Did your wife change her mind? Wow, this is really beautiful. I didn't know it was going to be like this, or was she still longing for Ottawa?
Obviously, I've been to Vancouver a couple of times with national team, so I knew about it. I was like, okay, Vancouver is a great city. You'll love it. No worries. It's not, different climate. It's not so cold as in Ottawa, so you're gonna love it. So obviously, when we drove there first time, you drive into the city, a big bridge, and then the city is right there, all the buildings, the water, the beaches. It was just beautiful. So right away, we okay, this is great, and it felt good. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't easy because at Ottawa we had a great time, but ended up being a really great decision because the following year Ottawa folded the league from the league, so that was obviously a great decision at the end. So it was just a great feeling being in Vancouver with the family, and it's good.
You signed with them, and was it different because you said with the MLS, you didn't really want to be there anymore? But was it any different being with the Canadian team in the MLS?
It was still the same. Where a lot of dinners on your own in preseason, for example. You get an envelope with money just for incidentals, and you go for dinners, which is okay. But it wasn't as as bad as when I was in Kansas, where players, going out and after games and party. So it was a lot different. But to be honest, it felt more like I'm ready for this now. Like I know what to expect. I know how they are a little bit. So maybe I should change my mindset also a little bit and just kind of adapt, but still try and stay true to yourself. So that's what I did. A different mindset. One of my closest friends from back in Roda, JC, he was Pamadou. He was one of the players at the Whitecaps back then when I signed. So I knew him. I played with him for 4 years. So him and his wife was close back then already with my wife. So it's really funny that we're kind of reunited again here. Yeah, so it was easier for us. We didn't live downtown. We lived far away, like an hour drive every time. So it's just, we were true ourselves, and it just clicked. And obviously I knew a couple of players from national team. So it was just a better fit overall.
A magic wand.
A magic wand. First couple of months, we just fell in love with this place, and we want to stay here as long as we can, and that was my goal when I got here. I was like, as soon as I can, just try to resign or get a longer deal, because this is the place where me and my family feel comfortable and feel great.
Oh, did he breathe? Yes, he did! Abracadabra walk! Abracadabra walk!
Casey!
Abracadabra walk!
Yeah.